The heavens have been speaking, yet you have not heard. You have been searching for a voice wrapped in thunder, but Archangel Gabriel has been whispering through stillness. The reunion you prayed for, the restoration you begged for, has already begun, quietly, invisibly, divinely. Heaven is not waiting for your tears. Heaven is waiting for your recognition. The signs are all around you, but your heart, drowned by pain and confusion, has mistaken revelation for coincidence. Saint Gabriel Archangel stands between two souls once divided by distance and silence. His message pierces the veil that human logic cannot see. You are being reunited, but you are ignoring heaven's signals. This moment you are living is not ordinary. Every strange piece, every sudden thought of that person, every dream that feels too real to dismiss, these are not accidents. They are divine communications from a realm that has already begun the restoration you are still praying for. You think nothing is happening because you cannot see it. Yet heaven moves in mystery. God never rebuilds in noise. He restores through timing, through inner transformation, through peace that seems to arrive out of nowhere. Gabriel's voice now descends like a gentle command. Stop assuming heaven is silent. It is your heart that has been too loud to hear. The pain that made you doubt is now the instrument heaven is using to refine your discernment. What you called delay was actually design. In this sacred moment, St. Gabriel Archangel reveals that two hearts once broken are being drawn together again by invisible threads of divine intention. What was lost is being found, not because you chased it, but because heaven decreed it. The divine order of love is being restored, not by your effort, but by God's orchestration. Gabriel whispers, "The reunion has already begun. Your task is to awaken and see it." You are not listening to this message by chance. Heaven led you here because you've been overlooking what's already unfolding. The signs are multiplying. Peace has returned in small doses, and your spirit has begun to recognize what your mind refuses to accept. God is not done with your love story. The same power that separated two hearts for healing is now weaving them back together under grace. But Gabriel's warning is clear. Heaven's movements are subtle. If you rush, you'll misinterpret them. If you grow still, you'll perceive them. Every divine reunion begins with awareness. Tonight, as the Archangel speaks, you will learn the truth that your heart has been avoiding. Heaven is already reuniting what the world thought was finished. This is not a message of chance. It is a call to awaken. The restoration is near. The signs have been whispering your name. The only question that remains is, will you listen this time? When heaven begins before you notice. Saint Gabriel Archangel now unveils the mystery that humbles the proud and heals the brokenhearted. Heaven always begins before you do. Every divine restoration starts in the unseen, long before you perceive it in your reality. What you call delay is often just the human struggle to catch up with what God has already begun. Gabriel's voice carries both authority and tenderness as he declares, "The reunion you are praying for did not start when you cried. It started when heaven decided it was time." There are moments when you sense a shift without explanation. The atmosphere changes, your emotions calm unexpectedly, and something within you whispers that peace is near. That is the sound of heaven's first movement. God never announces the beginning of his miracles with noise. He begins them in silence, through divine order and spiritual coordination. Archangel Gabriel reminds you that while you have been pleading for answers, heaven has been positioning hearts, rewriting timelines, and removing obstacles you do not even know exist. You may think nothing is happening because you have not received a message, but Gabriel reveals that restoration always begins in the spiritual realm, where words are unnecessary. Heaven starts by aligning what the human eye cannot yet see. Thoughts begin to soften, pride begins to melt, and forgiveness starts to take root. You are waiting for action, but God is working in atmosphere. Every delay you feel is synchronization in progress. The Archangel explains that heaven moves with precision, not emotion. Divine timing does not rush to satisfy longing. It waits to protect purpose. You were not denied communication. You were preserved from premature contact that could destroy what God is rebuilding. Gabriel says, heaven will not let something sacred begin on wounded ground. The unseen work is the cleansing of both souls, preparing them to meet again without repeating old pain. This is why you must not mistake quietness for inactivity. When you feel like nothing is shifting, that is when heaven is most active. God hides his greatest works in stillness. The same stillness that once tormented you is now your sanctuary. It is where God rewrites the ending you thought was permanent. The Archangel whispers, if you could see what heaven sees, you would understand that what appears delayed is already decided. Heaven began this reunion the moment your heart turned toward forgiveness. That single decision created ripples in the spirit world, ripples that are now moving toward the one you love. The reconciliation that will soon manifest began not in your words but in your surrender. Divine love never starts with pursuit, it starts with peace. So if your spirit has felt restless, if you have been sensing movement but seeing none, Gabriel assures you, it is because you are standing in the overlap between what heaven has finished and what earth has yet to witness. The Archangel concludes with quiet certainty. The reunion has already started, but your awareness must awaken to it. Heaven never begins late. You simply noticed late. The first sign, your spirit feels what your mind denies. St. Gabriel Archangel now reveals the first undeniable sign that heaven is reuniting two hearts that were apart. Your spirit feels it before your reason believes it. The human mind demands logic, but divine love transcends logic. Before the phone rings, before words are spoken, before paths physically cross again, your spirit already begins to recognize the movement of heaven. You cannot explain it, yet you feel it. A sudden calm in your heart, a strange peace when you think of that person, a softening that feels foreign after so much pain. Gabriel says, this is not imagination, it is recognition. Your spirit has heard what your ears have not. When heaven begins restoring a divine connection, your soul becomes attuned to it before your senses can comprehend. You start feeling drawn to prayer without knowing why. You feel gratitude replacing resentment. The anger that once fueled your thoughts loses power, and you begin to remember the good, not the pain. The Archangel explains, your spirit knows what your mind resists. Reconciliation has begun. This is why you suddenly think of them with peace, not desperation. It is not nostalgia, it is spiritual sensitivity awakening. Heaven allows your heart to sense harmony before harmony appears. It is like the faint fragrance of rain before it falls. You are not being haunted by memories, you are being prepared by mercy. God is showing you a preview of peace so that when restoration manifests, your spirit will already be ready to receive it without fear. Gabriel reminds you that when two souls are destined by divine order, their spirits remain connected even in silence. You can feel their emotions, their longing, their unseen prayers, because the connection was never merely human. Heaven tied your souls with a thread of light that separation could not sever. That pull you feel, Gabriel whispers, is not obsession. It is divine resonance. Heaven is allowing your heart to recognize the vibration of reunion so that faith may grow stronger than doubt. Yet the Archangel also warns, your mind will try to fight this. It will question, analyze, and doubt what the Spirit already knows. You will try to silence it, to convince yourself you've moved on. But peace keeps returning when it shouldn't. That persistence is the signature of heaven. Divine peace never chases. It waits, then fills. The Archangel says, "The human mind forgets, but the soul remembers. It remembers what heaven has written." Gabriel calls you to listen differently. When you sense that inexplicable comfort about the person who once caused you pain, don't dismiss it, discern it. Heaven is not reopening wounds, it is healing them in advance. The calm you feel is confirmation that the battle between hearts is ending. God is preparing both of you for what words could never accomplish, spiritual alignment. So when your heart softens unexpectedly, when your chest feels lighter for no reason, when you sense peace where there once was chaos, understand, your spirit is already living in a reality your mind has yet to see. You are standing at the threshold of reconciliation, and your soul has already crossed it. Saint Gabriel concludes this revelation with holy assurance. When heaven begins to move, your spirit always hears it first. Believe the peace, even when logic denies it, for the spirit never lies. The second sign, God is using memory as a message. Saint Gabriel Archangel now unveils the second divine sign, the way heaven speaks through memory. When God begins restoring a connection, He reawakens moments from the past not to torment you, but to transform you. Those sudden memories that flood your heart, the laughter that echoes in your thoughts, the small details you had buried, they are not nostalgia, they are messages. Gabriel declares, heaven never repeats what it has not redeemed. If you remember, it is because God is rewriting the memory with light. You begin to notice it quietly. You recall a conversation that once ended in pain, but now when you revisit it, the sting has faded. You think of their voice, their gestures, the kindness hidden behind their mistakes. And for the first time, you feel understanding instead of bitterness. This is not weakness, it is healing. Heaven is showing you the memory again, but this time from the side of mercy, not the side of suffering. Gabriel says, when God replays the past, it is not to break you, it is to free you. The Archangel explains that divine memory works like restoration of sacred glass. The image remains, but the fractures are sealed by grace. God is teaching you to see differently, not through the lens of hurt, but through revelation. He wants to show you how His hand was present even in the pain, how the same event that broke you was the seed of your spiritual awakening. You were not abandoned in that moment. You were being refined. Sometimes a song plays unexpectedly, or a scent reminds you of a day you tried to forget. Those are not coincidences. They are heaven's way of pulling you gently back to the place where healing must finish. You cannot truly move forward until the past is viewed through God's eyes. Saint Gabriel whispers, every memory that returns is a mirror of your progress. When it no longer hurts, the healing is complete. You may even feel a sudden compassion toward the one who caused your tears. That is not a sign of weakness. It is evidence that God has changed you. The same love that once chained you now flows through you purified. It is not attachment, it is grace. When you can think of the person without bitterness, you are no longer trapped in the past. You are walking in prophecy. Gabriel reminds you that memory is heaven's rehearsal space. Before reunion manifests in the physical, it is practiced in the spirit through remembrance. Each recollection serves a purpose, to awaken empathy, to humble pride, to remind you that love created by God never truly dies. It only transforms. The Archangel says, the memories you once cursed are now becoming your confirmations. What hurt you yesterday is testifying today. So when memories rise without warning, do not push them away. Ask instead, God, what are you trying to show me through this? Because every image heaven resurrects carries an instruction, sometimes to forgive, sometimes to release, sometimes to prepare. Gabriel declares, memory is the messenger of mercy. Listen before you label it as pain. This is how you will know restoration is near. when your heart can revisit the past without breaking, when the same scenes that once bled now breathe. That is heaven's signal that you are ready to receive the future God has been preparing in secret. Saint Gabriel concludes this revelation with a sacred truth. God is not bringing back the memory to reopen your wounds. He is bringing it back to prove they have healed. The third sign, divine repetitions. Saint Gabriel Archangel now reveals the third sign, the language of divine repetition, the way heaven insists until you finally pay attention. When God wants to awaken your discernment, He repeats Himself in patterns that the mind dismisses, but the spirit recognizes. The same numbers, the same songs, the same phrases, the same moments replaying in perfect rhythm. You call it coincidence, but Gabriel says, heaven is echoing what you keep ignoring. You begin to notice that your days feel strangely synchronized. The same name appears twice in one morning. The same verse from Scripture follows you on social media, on a billboard, in a random conversation. The same message about forgiveness, about patience, about divine timing surfaces again and again, wearing different faces but carrying the same voice. That voice is not human. It is the persistence of heaven. Gabriel whispers, when heaven repeats, it is not because you didn't hear. It is because you didn't believe. Repetition is heaven's compassion, disguised as insistence. God knows how easily pain blinds you, how grief makes your heart defensive. So instead of shouting, He sends confirmation layered upon confirmation, gentle enough not to scare you, persistent enough not to let you drift. The signs continue until your heart surrenders. The Archangel says, heaven will never let you walk away from a message meant to heal you. What you ignore in one form will return in another. This is why you have been seeing patterns you cannot explain. You hear the same melody that once belonged to your shared past. You see their name in unexpected places. You feel the same gentle nudge every time you pray for clarity. Heaven is not trying to haunt you. It is trying to guide you. These repetitions are signals of movement. When two hearts are being aligned again by divine order, the frequency between them begins to harmonize. The spiritual realm communicates through symbols before words, through repetition before manifestation. Gabriel explains that repetition is not just communication, it is preparation. Each sign is a thread leading you closer to awareness, a reminder that heaven is not silent but strategic. God's patterns are proof that He is consistent. He uses repetition to train your faith, to build recognition, to help you distinguish divine orchestration from human coincidence. The Archangel says, faith is not born in miracles, it is born in recognition. But here lies the warning. If you grow impatient or cynical, you will call divine order chance. You will stop listening and start dismissing. Heaven's repetitions will not stop, but your sensitivity will fade. That is how many lose their confirmation. They drown it in doubt. Gabriel urges, do not trivialize heaven's persistence. If God keeps showing it, it is because it matters. The patterns you see are not random reminders. They are heaven's alignment in progress. Every repetition is like a heartbeat of divine timing, pulsing between two souls who are being drawn closer again. Heaven uses these echoes to awaken you both to the same awareness, even if apart. Gabriel declares, when repetition becomes undeniable, restoration is near. So pay attention to what keeps returning. What repeats carries revelation. What persists carries purpose. Heaven does not waste repetition. It uses it to prepare your obedience. When something keeps appearing in front of you, it is because God is saying, look again, I am speaking here. Saint Gabriel Archangel concludes this revelation with sacred certainty. Heaven does not stutter. Every repetition is a rhythm of prophecy, and the more you notice it, the faster it unfolds. The fourth sign, the shift in dreams and energy. Saint Gabriel Archangel now unveils the fourth divine sign, the shift that begins in your dreams and in the atmosphere around your spirit. Heaven often moves first in the realm of sleep, where the noise of the world cannot interfere. When God begins to restore a bond, He reopens the channel between two souls through dreams, intuition, and the energy of peace that suddenly replaces the heaviness you once carried. Gabriel declares, "When heaven wants to reunite two hearts, it whispers to them in their sleep before it speaks to them in their waking." You start to dream again. Not nightmares of loss, but visions of calm, of reconciliation, of unspoken understanding. Sometimes you see them standing in silence. Sometimes you feel their presence without words. Sometimes you simply awaken with warmth in your chest and tears in your eyes. These are not just memories, they are meetings. Heaven often allows two spirits to communicate in the dream realm when the physical world is not yet ready. Gabriel says, "What happens in spirit is always a rehearsal for what will unfold in time." This shift also reaches beyond sleep. You notice your energy changing. You wake lighter, your prayers flow differently, your hope no longer feels forced. Even your surroundings reflect renewal. The same places that once felt empty now carry peace. God is rewriting the emotional atmosphere of your life to make space for what He is bringing back. The Archangel explains, "Before heaven reunites two hearts, it cleans the air between them." Dreams are one of heaven's oldest languages. In Matthew chapter 2, verse 13, Joseph was warned by an angel in a dream to protect Mary and the child, proof that God still uses rest to reveal purpose. The same is happening now. Your dreams are being touched by the Spirit. When you see them with peace instead of pain, when you wake with gratitude instead of grief, it means reconciliation is being prepared. Heaven is restoring harmony where once there was unrest. Gabriel warns, however, that this is a holy stage, one that must be received with reverence. Not every dream is divine, but those that bring peace, clarity, and faith always carry heaven's signature. The enemy disturbs, God restores. You will know the difference by what lingers after you wake. If your heart feels light, if the dream calls you to prayer instead of confusion, then the message came from above. Sometimes, even without dreams, you feel this shift as an invisible presence, like someone is praying for you, thinking of you, or sending love without words. That is not fantasy. It is alignment. Heaven allows the energy of intercession to pass between two souls who are being reunited. The same Spirit that comforts you at night is stirring them too. Gabriel whispers, "Heaven often heals two hearts while they sleep, so that when they awaken they no longer remember the wound, only the peace." This change in dreams and energy is the signal that heaven's restoration has moved from possibility to process. What was once pain is becoming prophecy. What used to haunt you is now preparing you. The same love that once broke you is now being reborn in divine rhythm. Gabriel says, "When the spirit rests in peace before the body reunites, know that heaven has already begun the embrace." St. Gabriel Archangel concludes this revelation with sacred assurance. The shift in your dreams is not illusion. It is heaven reminding you that love never died. It was simply resting until both hearts were ready to awaken. The fifth sign, God is silencing the wrong voices. St. Gabriel Archangel now reveals the fifth sign. When God begins to silence the voices that distort, distract, or delay divine restoration. Heaven cannot heal what confusion keeps contaminating. Before reunion comes clarity, and before clarity comes quiet. Gabriel's voice carries holy gravity as he says, before God reconnects two hearts, he separates them from every sound that does not come from heaven. You may begin to notice that certain people suddenly distance themselves. Conversations that once consumed you lose meaning. The opinions that once influenced your decisions no longer carry weight. It feels as though heaven is removing noise from around you, and that is exactly what is happening. God is creating silence, not to isolate you but to purify your perception. The Archangel says you cannot hear heaven while listening to the echoes of fear. These wrong voices are not always people. Sometimes they are your own thoughts, guilt, shame, self-doubt, and memories replaying as accusation. They whisper that you are not enough, that the story is over, that reconciliation is impossible. But heaven cannot build upon those lies. Gabriel declares, God's truth will not compete with the enemy's noise. So the Spirit begins quieting your fears. The overthinking stops feeling natural. The need to chase fades. You begin craving peace more than answers. That craving is heaven's confirmation that divine order is returning. The Archangel explains that silence is the sacred stage where restoration begins to breathe. God removes toxic influences not as punishment, but as preparation. If you are losing connections that once distracted you, it is because heaven is cleansing your circle. If you feel less inclined to explain yourself, it is because heaven is teaching you to trust its process. Gabriel says, the same silence that frustrates the flesh liberates the spirit. Even spiritually, you begin to discern more clearly. What once felt like chaos now begins to make sense. You stop reacting and start perceiving. You hear yourself pray differently, no longer asking why, but what now. This is what happens when the wrong voices lose authority. Heaven can now speak without interruption. The stillness that once felt like abandonment becomes sacred intimacy. Gabriel reminds you of Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 11 to 12. The prophet sought God in the wind, in the earthquake, in the fire, but the Lord was not there. He came in a gentle whisper. That same whisper is now speaking to you. God had to quiet the storm of external noise so that his message of restoration could finally be heard. The louder the confusion, the further the promise, Gabriel says. The quieter the spirit, the closer the miracle. So if people have left your life, if conversations have ended, if everything seems quieter than before, do not mourn the silence. Bless it. Heaven is editing your environment to amplify revelation. What was removed was never meant to stay. Every closed mouth, every ended interaction, every unreturned message is divine protection, not rejection. St. Gabriel Archangel concludes this revelation with firm gentleness. Do not fear the loss of voices around you. God is silencing what could sabotage the sound of his will. In the quiet that remains, you will hear the truth, the voice of heaven, the one preparing you for the love that will soon return in peace. The sixth sign, their heart is being awakened in secret. St. Gabriel Archangel now reveals one of the most sacred mysteries of divine restoration, the unseen awakening of the other person's heart. You cannot see it, you cannot predict it, yet somewhere beyond your awareness, God is moving in silence within them. While you've been praying for change, heaven has been performing it. Gabriel declares, when heaven begins to restore, it starts in secret. The same hand that comforted your heartbreak is now touching theirs. You may feel it without proof. Suddenly, you wake in the middle of the night and sense peace where there was restlessness. Your spirit grows still, as if heaven itself whispers something is shifting. You do not need confirmation from their words because heaven gives it through your discernment. The Archangel says, when God awakens one soul, he awakens the other in due time. You feel peace because heaven is already visiting them. This is the divine paradox. While you were healing, they were being humbled. Heaven often separates two hearts, not to end love, but to educate it. The one who walked away is now being confronted by the truth they ran from. In their quiet moments, conviction rises. Regret replaces pride. A longing begins to stir that they cannot explain. What you prayed for in tears, they are now feeling through revelation. Gabriel explains, every prayer you whispered for their awakening has been heard. What was planted in pain is now growing in their conscience. God does not expose this process to you because it must happen in secrecy. If you could see it too soon, you would interfere with divine timing. If they could speak too early, they might still speak from emotion instead of repentance. That is why heaven works in hidden places, in solitude, in silence, in dreams that wake them in the night. Gabriel says, "The silence between you is not empty. It is holy ground where heaven is writing the next chapter." You may notice strange moments that confirm it. A sudden peace after months of turmoil. A thought of them appearing during prayer. A song that once carried pain now fills you with calm. These are spiritual signals that the same spirit working in you is now moving in them. The Archangel explains that God never restores one heart and abandons the other. Restoration is not one-sided. It is synchronized. The same fire that refined you, Gabriel says, is now purifying them. Do not mistake their silence for indifference. Heaven often hides transformation to protect it. Their distance is not rejection, it is reflection. God is reshaping them into someone capable of carrying the love they once mishandled. You will not hear about their change until heaven has completed it. What begins in private will be revealed in peace, the Archangel affirms. He reminds you that in Luke chapter 15, verse 17 to 20, the prodigal son's awakening happened far from home, unseen by the father. The turning point occurred in the quiet moment when he came to himself. The same is happening now. They are coming to themselves, realizing the depth of what they lost and the grace of what still awaits. So hold your peace. Do not reach. Do not rush. Do not demand. Heaven is already handling what you cannot. God is stirring their heart with the same love that healed yours. Gabriel concludes with sacred certainty. When their heart begins to ache for what they once took for granted, know this: it is not memory, it is mercy. Heaven is reuniting you both in spirit before it reunites you in sight. The seventh sign, synchronized healing. Saint Gabriel Archangel now unveils the seventh and final sign that heaven is reuniting two hearts that were apart. The moment when both souls begin to heal at the same depth, even while separated. This is the divine synchronization that proves restoration is no longer a hope, but a reality unfolding. Gabriel's voice carries the weight of heaven's patience as he says, "The Lord never restores what is wounded on only one side. He heals both hearts at the same time in secret alignment so that love may not collapse under imbalance." You begin to feel peace replacing the ache you once carried daily, not because you've forgotten them, but because your heart has been restructured. The pain no longer defines you, it refines you. The person who once caused your tears now becomes part of your prayer, not your torment. This shift in you is the echo of the same healing occurring in them. Heaven is aligning two separate journeys into one divine rhythm. Gabriel explains, "You are no longer healing alone. Heaven is synchronizing two recoveries into one redemption. While you learn peace, they learn humility. While you forgive, they face conviction. While you rediscover your worth, they are discovering your value. Heaven's work in you is mirrored in their transformation, like two mirrors reflecting light back and forth across time and distance. The same grace that rebuilt your heart is being extended toward theirs, invisible yet undeniable. This is how heaven restores, Gabriel says. It rebuilds both foundations before reconnecting the walls. You may not see it, but your spirit feels it. The connection begins to carry a different energy, gentler, purer, free from the weight of obsession or fear. When you think of them, peace follows instead of pain. That peace is not indifference, it is alignment. The Archangel reminds you that divine love matures in balance, and balance can only exist when both sides have healed to the same spiritual depth. This is why heaven delayed your reunion. It was not rejection, it was synchronization. Gabriel reveals that during this stage, heaven allows small confirmations to appear. You may sense their prayers, see their name at just the right time, or hear words that mirror your own healing. These are not coincidences, they are reflections. God is showing you that what He began in you, He is now completing in them. Every emotional release, every tear of surrender, every choice to walk in faith instead of fear is echoed in their spirit. The two of you are being tuned to the same divine frequency. The Archangel says, "This is the stage where miracles mature quietly." Heaven does not rush unity. It prepares it with precision. When both hearts are equally refined, reunion will no longer feel like pursuit. It will feel like peace. You will not have to chase, because the Spirit will draw you together. That meeting will not be built on longing, but on readiness. Gabriel reminds you of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. This is that time, the hidden beauty of divine timing where both hearts are healing toward each other. What once separated you is now serving as the very bridge God is using to connect you again. Heaven wastes nothing, not even pain. Saint Gabriel Archangel concludes this revelation with holy authority. When both hearts begin to heal in harmony, heaven has declared the restoration complete. What broke in chaos will meet again in calm. This time the love will not burn to consume. It will shine to endure. Why you keep ignoring the signs? Saint Gabriel Archangel now speaks with piercing gentleness, revealing a truth many hearts resist. Heaven has not been silent. You have simply not been listening. The signs have been everywhere, in repetition, in memory, in peace, returning like a tide after a storm. But pain blinds the eyes of the spirit. When the heart clings to fear, even heaven's whispers sound like silence. Gabriel says, "You have mistaken divine subtlety for absence. You keep asking for signs, but you ignore the ones already sent." The Archangel explains that the human heart often rejects the very answers it prays for because they don't arrive wrapped in the form expected. You wanted thunder, but heaven answered with stillness. You asked for words, but heaven replied with peace. You expected movement, but God gave you rest. Heaven speaks through what calms you, not through what excites you, Gabriel declares. But you have been measuring God's presence by emotion, not by discernment. You ignore the signs because they do not match your longing. You wanted contact, God sent conviction. You wanted reunion, God sent renewal. You wanted proof that they were thinking of you. Heaven sent assurance that you were already remembered. The Archangel says, "You confuse recognition with revelation. You do not need to see the sign for it to be true. You only need to feel the peace that follows it." Often the pain of waiting drowns out divine confirmation. You call coincidences meaningless, though heaven weaves them with purpose. You dismiss repeated patterns as random, though they carry the very message you begged for. You see their name, hear their song, feel their presence, and yet your doubt whispers, "It's nothing." But heaven keeps repeating, not because God forgot, but because you have not believed. Gabriel warns, each time you call coincidence what heaven calls confirmation, your faith delays what your spirit already knows. You ignore the signs because you are still looking outward instead of inward. The divine communication is no longer around you. It is within you. The stillness that suddenly fills your chest, the intuitive knowing that requires no evidence, the peace that interrupts panic, those are heaven's signatures. But because they do not come with visible proof, you overlook them. Gabriel says, "The sign you seek is not a sound from the sky. It is the calm inside you when you stop demanding it." Sometimes heaven hides signs in the mundane to test your awareness. God wants to see if you can recognize divinity inside the ordinary. The coffee shop song that speaks your exact prayer, the verse that meets your eyes when your faith is lowest. the sudden memory that softens your heart, all are divine appointments. Yet your mind, trained by disappointment, rejects them as coincidence. The Archangel says, "Doubt is the fog that covers the handwriting of heaven." Gabriel's tone grows tender but firm. The signs were never meant to chase you. They were meant to invite you. Heaven is patient, but not indefinite. If you keep ignoring what God is already revealing, He will go silent again until your heart learns stillness. The divine is never absent, only unseen by distracted eyes. The Archangel warns, you are surrounded by evidence, yet starving for reassurance. Look again. The signs have not stopped. Your awareness has. This message is not a reprimand. It is a reminder. God is not punishing your blindness. He is awakening your sight. Every time your spirit feels a pulse of peace, that is heaven saying, you are on the right path. Every moment you feel inexplicable gratitude, that is the Archangel touching your heart to keep you steady. The signs have been constant. Your perception is what must change. St. Gabriel concludes this revelation with quiet authority. Heaven does not need to shout to the heart that truly listens. The signs are not missing. They are waiting for your stillness to make them visible. What you call silence is the sound of heaven repeating until your soul finally says, I hear you. What heaven needs you to do now. St. Gabriel Archangel now speaks with the authority of divine urgency. The time for signs has passed. Now heaven requires response. The Archangel's voice pierces through hesitation and fear as he declares, you have seen enough. Heaven has confirmed enough. What God needs from you now is not proof, but participation. The reunion you long for, the healing you desire, the restoration written in heaven. It will not manifest through striving, but through surrender. You have been waiting for movement, but heaven has been waiting for stillness. The more you chase, the more the blessing hides. God does not bless pursuit rooted in panic. He blesses alignment rooted in peace. Gabriel says, heaven does not need you to push. Heaven needs you to prepare. What must change now is not your situation, but your posture. Stop pleading as if God is distant. Begin thanking Him as if it is already done. Faith is not begging, it is agreement. The Archangel reveals that the first act of obedience is to release control. You must stop trying to fix what God is still forming. The one you love is being shaped in silence, and so are you. Every time you attempt to force communication, you interrupt divine construction. Gabriel warns, heaven will not build on ground that human hands keep disturbing. Trust is the only tool required now. You do not need to reach out, you need to remain ready. The second act heaven requires is forgiveness without confirmation. Forgive them before they return. Forgive even if they never do. Unforgiveness is a wall that even angels cannot pass through. If you are praying for restoration while holding bitterness, you are praying with closed hands. The Archangel says, release them into mercy. What you release from judgment, heaven can return in grace. The third act is obedience to peace. If something disrupts your calm, step away. If a thought produces anxiety, it is not from heaven. If your spirit urges rest, obey it. Heaven communicates not through confusion, but through consistency. God's will never pressures, it positions. The more you align with peace, the faster divine timing accelerates. Gabriel declares, every act of stillness is a declaration of faith, louder than 1,000 prayers of fear. Heaven is now aligning the final pieces. Your surrender becomes the invitation for manifestation. You are being asked to trust without sight, to love without demand, to believe without condition. This is not passive waiting, this is active faith. Your role is not to convince God, but to cooperate with Him. Keep your altar clean, your heart open, your faith steady. Speak blessings over them, even in their absence. Pray not to possess them, but to prepare for what heaven ordains. Gabriel reminds you that even Mary's miracle required surrender. In Luke chapter 1 verse 38, she said, "Be it unto me according to your word." That same obedience is being asked of you now. Heaven's restoration will not come through striving, but through that same yes. The Archangel says the moment you stop fighting the process, heaven will finish the promise. Now is the turning point. You are not being told to wait. You are being told to align. You are not being tested. You are being trusted. God has placed you at the threshold of fulfillment. What He began in heaven will soon be visible on earth, but only when you stop chasing and start listening. Saint Gabriel Archangel concludes this revelation with a seal of divine clarity. Heaven does not need more prayers of desperation, it needs your surrender. Stop asking if it will happen, begin preparing as if it already has. The reunion will not arrive to those who chase it, but to those who have become ready to receive it. The prophecy, two hearts meeting again under grace. St. Gabriel Archangel now delivers the most sacred and awaited revelation, the prophecy of divine reunion. This is not a human reconciliation born of nostalgia or need. It is a holy restoration orchestrated by heaven's own timing. Gabriel's voice descends like light breaking through the veil of delay as he declares, "The same God who separated you in mercy is now preparing to reunite you in grace." The Archangel reveals that this reunion will not resemble the past. It will not return with confusion or chaos. This time it will arrive clothed in peace. What once felt heavy will now flow effortlessly. The conversation you feared will feel natural. The silence that once divided you will now serve as the foundation for truth. Heaven has rewritten what was broken. What returns is purified, sanctified, and secure. Gabriel says, when God restores, He does not recycle pain, He resurrects purpose. In this prophecy, Gabriel shows the listener that divine restoration is never rushed. The reunion unfolds in sequence, first in the spirit, then in the heart, and finally in the visible world. What you once felt only in prayer will soon manifest through presence. The person whose absence shaped your faith will now become the vessel through which God displays His faithfulness. You will not recognize them by appearance, the Archangel continues, but by the peace they now carry. This peace is the true mark of heaven's restoration. There will be no more fear of loss, no more desperate clinging, no more questions that torment the mind. Instead, there will be calm certainty. The love that returns will feel like prayer, steady, safe, sacred. Gabriel warns, however, that this union will demand maturity. You cannot rebuild on emotional ruins. Both hearts must approach not as beggars of affection, but as stewards of grace. When heaven reunites two souls, he says, it is not for comfort alone, but for calling. The Archangel continues with divine precision. This reunion carries purpose beyond romance. It is meant to glorify God. Together, you will pray differently, speak differently, love differently. The relationship will now reflect heaven's design, mutual growth, spiritual covering, and divine alignment. The pain that once divided you will become testimony. The silence that once wounded you will now sound like worship. Gabriel declares, the same love that once broke you will now bless others through you. Do not question how it will happen. Do not measure time by human logic. Heaven has already written the moment of convergence. You may see it through a message, a meeting, or a circumstance so divinely timed that you will know this is not coincidence. This is covenant. God Himself will orchestrate the encounter, ensuring that nothing forced, nothing premature, nothing impure survives the threshold of reunion. Gabriel points to Isaiah chapter 61 verse 7, where the Lord promises, instead of your shame, you shall receive double honor. The Archangel proclaims this over your heart now. Where you once wept, you will now rejoice. Where you once begged for closure, heaven will give you beginning. The love that once broke apart in misunderstanding will now meet again in understanding that surpasses words. This prophecy is not just about the return of a person, it is about the return of divine order. What was once human love is now holy partnership. Heaven reunites not for comfort but for purpose, so that together you may embody what love looks like when it has been refined by grace. Saint Gabriel Archangel concludes this prophecy with solemn power. Prepare your heart, for the promise is near. Two hearts once divided by time are being drawn together by eternity. You will know it when you see it, because what returns will no longer pull you into pain. It will pull you into peace. This is not the revival of a past. It is the beginning of a destiny. The outro, heaven's final reminder. Saint Gabriel Archangel now closes this revelation with the calm authority of heaven itself. The message has been spoken. The prophecy has been released. What remains is the sacred reminder that faith, not sight, is the bridge between promise and fulfillment. The Archangel's voice softens, yet every word carries divine weight as he says, "What has been spoken in the Spirit will manifest in time. Do not rush what heaven is still sealing in grace." Heaven wants you to understand that the story of your heart is not random. Every delay, every silence, every unanswered prayer has been part of a choreography far more precise than your human understanding could bear. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. The love that felt lost was never dead. It was buried like a seed waiting for divine season. Gabriel declares heaven does not discard what it anoints. What God authors, no distance can destroy. Now, as you stand on the threshold between revelation and manifestation, heaven's instruction is simple. Guard your peace. Do not allow anxiety to undo what prayer has already built. The restoration has already begun in unseen places. It will reach you when your spirit matches heaven's stillness. Gabriel explains, the proof of faith is rest. When your heart stops striving, heaven starts moving. He warns, however, against trying to trace the process. You will not be able to map every detail of what God is doing. Some of it must remain hidden to protect it. Trust the unseen hand that has guided every turn, every silence, every sign. The same heaven that began this work will complete it. Gabriel reminds you of Philippians chapter 1, verse 6. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. The reunion is not a hope. It is a certainty sealed by divine timing. Saint Gabriel now speaks directly to your heart. Heaven has seen your tears, counted your prayers, and measured your faith. Every moment you thought you were being ignored, you were being instructed. Every silence that broke you was God building you. Every unanswered question was heaven answering in patience. You are not walking toward uncertainty. You are walking toward fulfillment. The signs were never meant to entertain your doubt, but to confirm your destiny. Heaven's message through the Archangel is not about waiting. It is about awakening. Gabriel says, "You have not been waiting for love to return. Love has been waiting for you to become ready to receive it." So tonight, release the fear. Lay down the timeline. Close your eyes and breathe in the peace that heaven has been trying to send for so long. The restoration is already alive, pulsing through time, finding its way toward you. The Archangel assures, you are not chasing the promise is already chasing you. This is heaven's final reminder. When you stop trying to control how it happens, God will show you why it had to happen this way. When the reunion comes, it will not need explanation, only recognition. The moment will arrive clothed in peace so unmistakable that your spirit will know. Heaven kept its word. Saint Gabriel Archangel seals this message with divine authority and tenderness. What God joins in purpose, no human error can permanently divide. The signs will continue, not to remind you of waiting, but to prepare you for witnessing. Be still. Believe. for the hearts that heaven has chosen are already finding their way home. The voice of heaven grows quiet now, but its echo remains, not in the noise of the world, but in the peace within you. The prophecy is complete. The love story written by God continues,